Joining us now about all of this is Trump spokeswoman Liz Harrington. We love having her. And also another one of our favorites joining us is Trump attorney Lindsey Halligan. Lindsey, let's start with you. When I heard this, I was surprised. I shouldn't say I'm surprised because it seems like Jack Smith is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this. But to actually say he can't talk about his own case, isn't this a violation of First Amendment rights, Lindsey?
It is. Free speech was designed to be able to criticize the government. So President Trump, who's campaigning to be president, can't criticize the government that's indicting him. How can he campaign without speaking? How can he defend himself? How can he argue that he's the better candidate than Joe Biden? It's all about trying to shut people up and censor them. Jack Smith thinks nobody can discuss what they're doing. Everyone has to be nice to us. Well, what about the January 6th committee? Remember that their accusations and one-sided presentation of evidence didn't taint the potential jury pool. What about Jack Smith himself stating during his press conference about the January 6th indictment, where he conveniently left out that President Trump said peacefully and patriotically? That didn't potentially taint the jury pool. And then there's Judge Chutkan's comments during the sentencing of January 6 defendants, where she's called the January 6 event as a mob on the Capitol. She has insinuated that President Trump needs to be prosecuted, saying that there's blind loyalty to one man who remains free to this day. Who really has tainted the potential jury pool? Those comments certainly do. I think they're a rush to judgment. They're inflammatory. And also her comments, her sentencing, where she's exceeded prosecutors' recommendations in 19 of her 38 sentences. And in 4 of those cases, prosecutors weren't seeking any jail time at all. So what do those sentences do to a potential jury pool?
Yeah, those are interesting points. And Liz, too, much of the heart of his campaign is, I'm standing in their way. In other words, I'm standing up for you. And look at the incoming I'm getting. And how can he not say, well, here's some of the incoming I'm getting? I mean, how are you going to muzzle this? And you even saw right there, it was, I think, minutes or maybe an hour, you know better than I do, at the rally, he already said, listen, Jack Smith is deranged. And then Jack Smith basically said, wait a minute, he can't be responding. I mean, this is crazy, Liz. How do you run the campaign like this?
It's absolutely crazy. It's un-American, but it's not surprising because they arrested him for talking about corruption in the last election. So, of course, they want to try to stop him from speaking about corruption in this election, because that's exactly what's going on here. They're interfering in the ability of the American people to make their choice. And Lindsey is exactly right. This is so biased. This is so anti-American. It's unconstitutional. And gag orders are supposed to protect the defendants. They're not supposed to protect the interests of government and government prosecutors, especially very corrupt ones who clearly have an agenda. They've been allowed to lie about President Trump. They've leaked grand jury subpoena information. They've tried to taint everybody in this country against President Trump, but it's not working, and that's why they're trying to muzzle him, and it's not going to work. They're not going to be able to silence the most powerful voice in this country, which is President Donald J. Trump.
And he is the leading candidate right now, right smack in election season on the GOP side. In fact, some new polls came out a few hours ago. He's even widened the gap between the number 2. It is so far away. And yet they keep coming at him. It's interesting, Lindsey, too, because this also comes after a week where in the Georgia case, as you know, they were trying to put all the defendants together. And Fani Willis there was pushing to try to get all of it to happen October 23rd. I mean, this is just crazy. Obviously, the judge even said this is unrealistic. Where do you see that case going? And are you worried that maybe some of these other prosecutors may say, hey, we want to try for a gag order, too?
Oh, I'm sure all of them will seek a gag order. They want to prevent him from talking at all and defending himself. The problem is the people support President Trump. The polls show that. So no matter what they do, the people will continue to support him. With regard to the Georgia case, I don't even think Powell's and Cheeseborough's speedy trial will occur on in a month. I think that will also be moved. Pushed back. There's just too much going on. There's too many emotions. The government is just going too far, and I just think there's no way that any of the trials will be completed within the next year.
Yeah, I would be surprised very much too. There are so many of them. Both of you, thank you very much. I love having both you ladies on. Thank you for being with us here.
Great to see you, Rita.
Thank you.
Thank you.